And remembering that there's no like one right way to sit or stand or walk, but the way that feels most natural and easy and supportive for you. Right? So for each person, that may be different. So really honoring the diversities of how we sit or stand or find that sacred shape. And letting the body come to rest. What's good about this moment? What's here now that you can really touch into that has this element of goodness? We're training to ourselves to come back to that original goodness and letting that goodness support us into settling down. So, what needs to be set down? What needs to be set aside? The to-do lists, the plans, the past, and grounding in the present moment by getting in touch with where the body makes contact with the chair or the surface or the ground. You are here, and it feels like this. There's a body in its posture. You might feel the weight of the body being supported by the surface below you. And you let this body further sink in and trust that gravity will take care of you. Maybe inviting in the breath. What would it be like to allow yourself to enjoy breathing? What a miracle to just be breathing and know that you're breathing. To acknowledge this breath energy and how it gives life in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. So maybe increasing energy or effort to stay with the breath, to not get distracted by thoughts. We maybe generating interest and this closeness, this intimacy to this process of breathing. And as you breathe, notice where there's a room to soften any area of tension or tightness in the body. Where do you feel the tension? And awareness soften anywhere we let the light of awareness touch. Notice what's here for you now. And hearing sound and not letting sound lead you down the path of thinking and conceptualizing and identifying, but hearing sound and letting sound be what brings you back to the present moment. Sound in the room, the sound of my voice, the sound of your breath, or of those around you. So any one of these things can be a wonderful anchor to support this moment-to-moment awareness. Sound, the breath, contact points in the body. Whatever sensations might be arising in each moment, can we lean in with curiosity? Or is it skillful to move away and come back to a neutral place? Calming and soothing ourselves with each mindful breath, or with each moment of touching our own sense of groundedness. And remember, it's not so important that you have to sit still, but it's in this practice of resting and fully letting go, softening, loosening the grip, the way we tend to hold up our posture and our body. That's where we realize that settling in, that sense of ease and stability that comes by way of softening and resting back. Just noticing sensations and not needing to do anything about it. Watch it pass by. Watch it increase and reach its peak, and then in time pass. Whether it's an itch or a tingling sensation, a vibrating sensation, acknowledging and then returning to the anchor. Maybe in that softening, you might soften your lips to become a smile. Maybe it's softening the ears and how the ears receive sound. Maybe it's softening the eyes, softening the jaw and the throat, softening the shoulders, letting the breath soften the animal of this body. moment you hear the sound of the bell, you're welcome to continue as you are, or maybe shift posture if that feels supportive. Again, checking in with the body. Where is there a possibility to further sink into that stability, that ease, that natural shape of love and kindness? Wherever you are now, I'd like to invite you to bring your awareness to a part of you that needs your care and attention. Is it a place in the body? Is it the heart space? Is it a pain or discomfort? A physical one, an emotional one, or mental? Acknowledging what is here and getting in touch with that felt sense of this experience. And we'll end our meditation with a loving kindness song. For those of you who know it, you're welcome to join in. And you're also welcome to just let the words land. See how it lands in your heart, in your body, and in your mind. And we begin by turning towards ourselves, offering ourselves this kindness, this care, this loving attention that maybe at times we don't give ourselves enough of. That we deserve our own care, our own love. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. Receiving that possibility of love and kindness, peace and happiness as best as we can. And then now turning towards someone who's on our heart or mind. Someone we cherish or someone we wish happiness for. Maybe it's someone who's struggling, or maybe we're having a challenged relationship with. Or all of these people, is it possible to offer them this kindness, this care, knowing that they too long to be happy, they too long for love, for peace, for understanding. And sending well wishes to them. May you be filled with love and kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. And taking in their suffering and converting that to compassion and love and care. And setting that down. And now expanding this heart of love and care and this mind that opens up and looks out into the space around us, into our community, our family, our circles of friends, and our neighborhood. All the people we know and all that we know of, that we all share this wish for well-being, this wish to be happy, this wish for things to be good and well and to be protected and loved and seen and understood. Just acknowledging this shared wish and this pursuit that we're on. May we be filled with love and kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. And what does that feel like to recognize how much we are alike at this pursuit? To touch that common ground of being in all of its way it's expressed and attempted. And then extending our hearts and mind and energy all the way out to all beings, both living and non-living things, all that supports our life. Even this chair that we're sitting on, or the floor, or all that brings us together here. The animals, the plants, and the minerals, the sun and the moon, the stars, everything that is going well to support our very life, our human life on this earth. May all be filled with love and kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. And all that we send out, all of our hearts that is given to the people out there, the ways we've served and the ways we give endlessly. Can we now bring it back to ourselves? Serving our heart, serving our body and mind, that to fulfill that giving, we also must practice receiving. And the more we can allow and give ourselves permission to receive, that our capacity to give also grows. and deepens. May I be filled with love and kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. Breathing in this love, kindness, and care. And breathing out peace, stability, and ease. Notice the quality of the heart in this moment. Notice the quality of the mind. Notice how it feels like in the body. If there's any sense of goodness, I invite you to savor it, to extend that experience. If there's a feeling of neutrality, you can rest in that neutrality or that space, that maybe opening, or just to observe whatever is there exactly the way it is. And the sound of the bell marks the completion of our meditation practice. And we'll take a couple minutes here for you to stretch, maybe come out of your posture mindfully, joyfully, and lovingly, inviting in some movement or some self-massage if that feels like an act of love and kindness. And taking this time maybe to get a drink of water or use the restroom, and we'll convene here in about 3-4 minutes with the talk and reflection. Letting this time too be a part of the practice. Hi, Kimberly. I'm glad you're here. I'm still waiting for a few people to come back into the room and on camera. So we'll give it another few minutes until everyone joins back in. I don't think I'm able to change the settings with the chat capability. Yeah. Oh, I see it. Everyone and
So if you not start a new chat, you can pick
oh,
or you do the
okay. Oh, that works. Fantastic.
should work. Each person should.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's so good. Okay. Thank you. All right. So you all can on Zoom, you can chat. You can chat to everyone or chat to each other if you'd like. So that's available now. Thank you, Rob. Always learning something new. Hmm. I know Ellen was trying to send chats to like everyone earlier, and it all went to me. So yes, sorry, Ellen. Now you have the power to connect to everyone. Mhm. Oh, or oh, okay. There, you see her happy face now. That's the one. All right, look like we have almost everyone back on Zoom. Oh, yes, everyone's on Zoom, but here in the room, I think we're still taking turns in the restroom. So we'll give it another few minutes. Mhm. Everyone- You can say hello if you want, if you turn the mic on. Yeah, yeah, it's good to know everyone's here. Mm. So maybe I'll use this time to make an announcement. Yeah. Um, uh, Next week we have two Buddhist nuns that will be here, and I invite you all to join. Um, they are from the Thai forest tradition, and what makes the nuns here who are in Washington or the Pacific Northwest, what makes it so unique is that in the Thai forest tradition, um, women, are technically not allowed to ordain. So they're not recognized. And so just I just have this uh heartfelt reverence for the way these nuns have navigated the, oppression of wanting to live the holy life, but at the same time facing many obstacles. And they've been, on this journey, committed to, devoting their whole life to the teachings and practices of the Dharma. And, um, you know, they have a lot of wisdom that they can share with us inside of how they're practicing in their um, identities and with what they're navigating. And it was interesting because about it's been a month and a half, a little over a month ago at the end of June, I went up to Seattle on sort of a whim to see one of my teachers, Ajahn Sona, who has a monastery, Birken Monastery in Canada. And I was on this car ride going from Olympia to Seattle, and I sat in the back seat, and there was a nun that sat in the front passenger seat, and she was having her breakfast on this 1 hour car ride. And then when she finished, she looked back at me and she says, "You look so familiar." And I said, "Do I?" And she's like, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And I said, mm, "Do you mingle in any other Buddhist groups and circles?" And she said, "No." And then she says, "Maybe we just know each other from our past lives." And I said, "Yeah, maybe that sounds good, you know." And then as we continue to talk and got to know each other, when I said the word Portland, she says, "Oh, that's where I know you." And I said, "You do? From what about?" And I was like, "Maybe you saw some newsletter somewhere or something online." And it turned out that she's coming here to teach. So, so Kando, our other teacher here, secures all the teacher lineup. And so on this 1 hour ride, we got a chance to really get to know each other and just incredible, joyful human being. So I really hope you all get a chance to be in her presence and both of their presence next week. And bring your questions. We'll have, a similar schedule with meditation and Dharma talk. And then afterwards, there'll be opportunity to ask question. And then even after 6:30, they're willing to stay around and we'll have teas and uh, little snacks. And you can ask them more personal questions if you like. And that would definitely be not recorded at all. So you're welcome online too, for those of you who are online who want to stay for that. And if you can come in person, I highly encourage you to come. It's very rare for us to be able to be around monastics. And these particular monastics are, you know, there isn't a way that we have to perform any rituals, any, ways of being in front of them. They really understand, how it's like and come as you are, you know, feel as awkward as you like, but and you're welcome to come and yeah, just be in their presence. So it's very special to have to be around that kind of energy of human beings who are committing their whole life to renunciate and to leave everything. And in this particular tradition, they're really about, just truly going against, the stream, of consumerism, of materialism, of all the, harm that we often do to ourselves. And they're really practicing that, how to reduce harm and love and promote love and kindness and yeah, and simplicity. So please join me next week. We're very excited to welcome the two nuns. So Aya and Yanika will be the one giving a talk and uh, yeah, their Aya's pronoun is they them. So I might be mixing up on that. I apologize if I have mispronounced her them. So I think Scott is probably still setting up, but I guess we'll begin. Do you mind turning that off? Yeah, we're get the cooling system going on in here because it's a very muggy day and then also the other announcement is that August, the last Saturday of this month, August 30th, we'll be having our first all-day retreat. So I've been really excited about us having all-day retreats because we did a survey about a month and a half ago, right? Where a number of Sangha members and folks who have attended, just like yourself, filled out this online survey. And one of the number one things that we noticed was that everyone would like to have us, have all day retreats, a day of mindfulness. So by popular requests, we are now offering all day retreats, which I'm so excited about. It's so great. So we'll be in this room on August 30th And, we'll start in the morning and we'll go up until the time, like right before this 4:30 Saturday Sangha, and you can continue all the way to this, or you can come for, whatever part you can in the day and just spend a day of being, right? So we're like transforming that part of us that do, go, 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 right? And then just like, what is it to just experience being in our body, being alive, being with the present moment, nowhere to go, nothing to do. And it's extremely nourishing. And eating together in silence, walking together in silence. There's so much intimacy and deep connections that are there within ourselves and with each other when we practice that kind of presence. So I invite you to join in on that day, and I think there might be a registration or something so that we can kind of get a sense of who's all here. But even if you aren't able to register, you still come and bring whoever you can so they can experience the another way to spend quality time with you. And we'll also have some mindful movement. So sitting, walking, eating, mindful movement, right? And yeah, so it'll be a time not of a rigid, way of practice, but the kind of practice that helps us feel ease and nourishment again, coming back to our body. Um, so the topic today, what really inspired me about this is it's been a long time, but I didn't realize how I had this. Um, I had already a Google Doc of like guilt and shame that I had piled up through the years because of the number of years when I would give talks or in the circle of Dharma discussion, how often it came up, and I kept adding to it, writing about it, and then other, folks would talk about it and ask me questions through the years, and it's a topic that I want to invite into just our like another thing for us to reflect on and just hold in mind as we go about our lives. And then I'll bring in the English, way that we relate to the word, guilt and shame, and then also the Buddhist terminology for it in Pali and what that means, and how do we take these two qualities or states, mental states, and turn them into something that we can remain mindful of instead of reactive to, right? Instead of a state that has us feel disempowered and shut down or, turned against us, but that it could be perhaps states that we can bring some grace and kindness to. So to transform anything, we first must acknowledge it's present, right? Just like we do in our meditation practice, is acknowledging what's there and then spending time to just be with it, sit with it, feel how does that feel in the body. So when we feel guilty, what's there for us. When the feeling of shame arises, what's there, what's underneath that, and allow ourselves to feel the unpleasantness of it, the discomfort of it. It's like even like the word as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh, I feel it in my gut. It's like, oh, or is it maybe it's in your chest? So just really getting in touch with like, you know, those moments and apply mindfulness to it. Apply mindfulness of this visceral experience in the body. And what is the mind saying about this? What stories do we have when we feel guilty about something? And then what are our beliefs, our these same things that occur to us inside when we are in that state? Do we change the subject? Do we, yeah, ignore, avoid? Do we beat ourselves over it? So I'm just inviting in some of the ways that we initially work with it, or and this part I think is really a key um, distinction between what I've learned since I spent time working with, folks, and then how that looks like with my upbringing, being in a Asian Buddhist upbringing. And I'm sure a number of you have heard of this, but the Dalai Lama, when he first came to the States, and he learned of this thing called self-hate. He was shocked. Like, how could that be possible? That, we hate ourselves. And it's actually really, I mean, it was unfamiliar to me until I started spending time with a lot of friends who grew up here. And I was stunned to see how deep seated this is in our society today. And it really, um, yeah, it breaks my heart. And at the same time, it has me see what is it that would make a difference? What is it? What is it in how we view ourselves and how we reprogram the narrative that will help us come out of these um, destructive states of mind? So I remember like a number of years ago when I first began like offering like coaching and guidance to folks. There was someone who had shared that they felt something so simple as feeling really guilty for not attending their cousin's wedding in Greece. It was during the pandemic. And she says, Trina, how do I get rid of this guilt I feel? And I said to her, well, first of all, what I'm seeing is that you really care. You really care. You really want to be there at this function. You really care about this matter. So just in that moment where we feel guilt, acknowledging our own goodness of how much we care about something, that the fact that it affects us in that way, right? It has our heart feel heavy. Oh, wow, I'm having a really good human experience that I care. So to shift our view to, acknowledging our own sense of love and care is that beginning versus I feel bad. I've done wrong. I'm not doing the thing that I should do. Or, you know, maybe it's spending more time with our family. Maybe it's working less. Maybe it's more time for our health or fitness or whatever that is for us. It's when we feel that tension, that like tug, it's recognizing, oh yeah, I really care about this matter. And that's why I'm feeling this guilt. And I think of it as like a internal compass that tells us where we might have veered a little too far away from the thing that mattered to us. And it's not to make it wrong, but oh yeah, here's something I care about, but then here's what I'm choosing. And we could still be aware of what we chose, but now it's in the foreground, not in the background or not underneath. And so that's one angle to see it, is that we're moving away from making it mean something about ourselves, that I'm bad, I'm a bad, you know, friend, sister, mother, whatever role we play, father, son, husband, partner, you know, I'm a bad, you name it. It's not so much about the self as it is about, oh, here's my action. I chose this and now it has me feel this way. So kind of taking that out from mm, this part of us, that almost like when we turn towards ourselves and said it's me, we are rejecting and pushing um, further away from ourselves. Like I should be some other way and I'm not. I want to bring in another angle of this, because this is a big part that I've noticed through the years in my own view and how I was brought up and how I've seen, self-hate arise in others, is that in the Asian Buddhist culture, and I know this in the Vietnamese culture, is that, when a mistake is made, what I say to myself is not, I'm stupid or I'm wrong, but it's, oh, I made a mistake. I did something that was unwise, unskillful. So we're judging and assessing the action and not the worthiness or the character of ourselves. And that's where the shift is. It's not about our self, but it's about the action. And if it's about the action, we can change actions. We can take a different action, a more skillful action. But when it's about the self, now we're constantly trying to fix and change parts of ourselves, right? Resist aspects of ourselves that make up who we are. And then we disconnect and disassociate from ourselves by way of that, because of that unskillful view. And then with an unskillful view, that's the first of the Noble Eightfold Path, is having skillful view, the right understanding. If we don't have the right understanding, it becomes a very hard path. It becomes a struggle, uh, because everything is reflected from that place of, I'm wrong. How come I can't do this? What's wrong with me? Gosh, I wish I was better. I need to be better. I need to be different. I need to be more kind. I need to, if it's about action, then, oh, I can produce an act of kindness. I can add to that account of kindness and love and keep pouring into it through these actions, through these words, through these thoughts, right? Cultivating that versus trying to be more of that. We are just, through our words or action and um, our thoughts, we can cultivate those qualities rather than try to change ourselves to just somehow be that. And I think that to me is where the difference lie. And I've lived with folks who just carry so much, uh, what is it? Yeah, self-hate. And that self-hate also added self-doubt to it, and self-blame. And it's crippling. It's so crippling to live in that place. And when we know that that's kind of the narrative we've lived with, we come back to the practice of loving kindness, doing some work, spending time with forgiving ourselves for that's what we've known of that's what was role model to us, and that we did our best, and coming back to that part of us that cares. And to me, when I work with folks and with myself too, I think the part that really helps the most is treating guilt with grace and coming back to find our goodness again. When we feel guilty, see if you can look for the goodness within you. Where is their goodness? I was talking to someone the other day who shared that they were at their wits' end. They shared about, we were talking about that moment of where they had a shift, a big turning of the corner of their life, and they were um, they were bringing drugs into a public place, and there was a search. The police searched them and found, all sorts of drug that they hid in every single pocket, and the police officers said, "Come with me. I'm gonna take you somewhere." And they escaped. They ran off, and the police officer never came after them. And um, and then they had another close call, but there was a moment where they paused and they turned towards themselves and just got in touch with this goodness. Like they said to me, they said, "I got in touch with this grace that I am loved, I am safe." And just being able to um, take that moment where they got away as a second chance, that, oh wow, something is taking care of me. And instead of keep taking chances again, that there's a goodness that is telling me to stop, telling me to, you know, mend my life. And they said that grace kept coming up, those moments that they, were able to slip away and didn't get caught or didn't go to prison. And they said, when I stopped and looked at it deeply, I saw that there was goodness out there. And then I recognized in me there was goodness. And upon recognizing that goodness, I knew it was time for me to stop and to turn towards this, like, this part of looking deeply. And they became a seeker, right? They were then looking for the truth. What is the meaning of this life? If there really is goodness out there, and if there's goodness in me. And I was touched by this grace. You can call it the grace of God, or the goodness of the universe, or some blessings one has had, or and they began their journey just searching through every single Christian text and denomination for something that would speak this truth, and like all across tradition. But what they found was each tradition said, ours is better. Ours came directly from above. No, ours is better. Ours came from above. And they kept searching and searching. And it's like, wait a minute, everything is contradicting each other. So where do I turn? What is the truth? So that hunger for truth, for meaning, oh, was what led them down the path to meditation, and then the Tao Te Ching and Buddhism. this person, my gosh. I mean, to know of their past and to see the contrast of who they are, you would have never thought. So that goodness is in all of us. In every adult in custody that I sit with, I see their goodness, but I'm not sure they see their own goodness yet. And so when we practice getting in touch with our goodness, like that part of us that when I feel guilty, oh wait, what's underneath that? Oh, I really, really care and I want to fulfill that duty, or I want to, show up in a certain way. So that part of us, spending time acknowledging that, is a way that helps us come out of that disempowered state. And just in that, the presence of that, now there's like an opportunity and an opening to shift our action, because now we have these wholesome thoughts. And with these wholesome thoughts comes wholesome feelings and wholesome speech and actions. And that's how we begin to make these shifts and these turns that is in alignment with what we feel deeply in here. That goodness that's in there that we are in touch with begins to be seen through and aligned with our actions aligned to it, our speech aligned to it. And then now there's just goodness. So guilt help us to course correct and refine where things are a little bit off. It's like, oh, okay, go a little more this way or this way. Or we find my reactivity, my anger, spend some time with that, or with any reactive behaviors that we have. Why do I feel so strongly like that and did that, and then now I regret it? Right? So it gives us that moment to pause and look, instead of, I feel guilty. Okay, I'm just going to put that aside and then put it in the closet and shove it under the rug. And then, let's just not look at that stuff. So I think one of the things that I'm so moved by is the courage and the bravery I see in us when we practice. Like, we're willing to look at some really uncomfortable stuff. And I think out of all things that one can brave through, it's that inner world where all those, the dark night of the soul is, where all the demons and and wild beasts and hungry ghosts are. And that willingness to go there and to touch the hurt, the pain, the, and the shame. And I want to bring up now just the part about shame. And I'm going to read from a text from Bhikkhu Bodhi. He wrote this essay called "The Guardians of the World." So he points out, the Buddha points out two mental qualities that are like the safeguards of morality, right? So it's like the safeguard for this internal moral compass we have. And he calls it, these are like the protectors of the individual, for both the individual and society. And these two qualities are in Pali, Pali, which is the language of when the sutras were translated, language of the Buddha's time. Hiri, which is Hiri, and ottappa, Ottappa. So hiri and ottappa are the two qualities that are like the protectors for individuals and society. And hiri is this sense of shame, shame of it's a moral shame. And ottappa is this dread, this fear of the result of wrongdoing. And we know of this because it's in our hearts, and it kind of, we feel that tug, that pull, that, it occupies in this place. It's not a mental thing, it's not a tension of the mind, but we feel it in here. It's like a tightness, a heaviness, something there. And at times we don't feel it, and maybe we're very disconnected and numbed out as a way of protecting ourselves from it, right? Avoiding it. So the practice of meditation has us, unfortunately, feel it more. So know that if you're feeling things more, it's not that you're going in reverse or you're having a regression, but that, oh, you're going really deep into it. And that you're feeling your feelings more. You're getting in touch with whew, the wide range of emotions that could be had. And so this moral shame, hiri, right? This moral shame and this fear of wrongdoing, which is ottappa. So moral shame and fear of wrongdoing are united in the common task of protecting the mind from moral defilement. They differ in their individual characteristics and modes of operation. So hiri, the sense of shame, has its root in self-respect and induces us to shrink from wrongdoing out of a feeling of personal honor. Okay, so to have that feeling of shame in this context means that there's a sense of respecting ourselves and honoring ourselves. Right? It's almost like we have I feel like it's like a standard that we uphold ourselves to, where we are not going to engage in that unskillful thing. Because we know what it does to us. We know that it creates restlessness and dis-ease. And ottappa, fear of wrongdoing, is more of this like orientation towards the outside, towards our environment and people. So this is the voice of conscience that warns us of the dire consequences of moral transgression. So when we have this fear of wrongdoing, we're concerned if people are going to blame us or punish us. And there's the also we're concerned for the painful karmic results that we'll have. And we also recognize the impact that will have towards the liberation of our own suffering and that of others too. So because of being on this path, now we are oriented towards, reducing our suffering, mitigating suffering for ourselves and others. So this is where this fear of wrongdoing comes in. So not all fear is bad, right? Fear that we're gonna, commit crime or do wrong that harm ourselves and other is actually a wonderful kind of fear to have. It helps anchor us on the path. Yeah, in recent times I've had, fear come up, and I knew it wasn't that kind of fear of like withdrawing and pulling away, of like run, but it was more of this fear of if I continue in this way with this kind of effort, that I'm going to harm myself or I'm going to suffer if I continue, giving and putting in this effort in this direction. And I followed that fear. I followed that doubt. It was a wise doubt, wise fear. It was a wise judgment that in the moment where I kind of like, oh, maybe it's okay. Maybe this is where I lean in. It hurt. And then when I started to really like step back and like underneath this fear, what is it really saying? It's saying, be careful, watch out, be heedful, go with caution. And when I leaned into that part of fear, okay, what is the skillful response? What is the skillful speech? What is the skillful position to take on this? Whew. And now being on the other side of that, my heart is like cooled down, nervous system like, oof. Yeah, you dodged a bullet. It's kind of that feeling. Whew. Yeah, so sometimes fear can tell us a lot of wonderful things. Um, and then the other part I want to share around this is here's another. So hiri, which is moral shame, is like one's disgust at grabbing the rod in the place where it is smeared with excrement. Interesting. So that's from taken from this article, but from what the Buddha said. So moral shame is like disgust at one's disgust at grabbing the rod in the place where it is smeared with excrement. That's really vivid. And ottappa, fear of wrongdoing, is like one's fear of grabbing it in the place where it is red hot. Dangerous, right? It's gonna immediately hurt you and burn you. And you'll see the consequences right away. It's like right there, you'll see the burn. You'll get hurt. I have friends who are agnostic and they like to play with fire. That's I kind of see that in their ways of being, and this is where, in this path, there is very such intention and care. It's not a like, don't do this, but do it and see what happens. You know, what happens? What are the results? How does that affect the quality of the heart, the mind, our nervous system? So that invitation from the Buddha of like, see for yourself, try this out, and then come back and hear the Dharma about this. What do you think? Can you verify that? Does that make sense for you? Is it true for you based on what you've experienced? And even, a friend that says, well, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. And I've seen that play out too. Just the suffering that is there is endless. Mm. Yeah, and the person has lost their sense of dignity and have finally come around and said, I think I'm going to stop now. And what there is in that part is to love oneself, honor yourself. I remember saying that to this person. I said, honor yourself. Honor the part of your being you know, that is waiting for you to care for, to tend to it. Honor your pain, honor your injury, and take time to show up for yourself in this really sacred and respectful way. Oh, we're up on time. So does any of this help? I know I kind of went in all over the place, it seems like, but curious. Yes, Gavin, I can put it in the chat as well, the name of that essay. So The Guardians of the World from Bhikkhu Bodhi. Anyone with anything you'd like to reflect, express? What's coming up for you? What resonate or gosh, this is another hard topic. Why does she keep talking about these things I don't like hearing? I remember my first talk was on anger. The first time I gave a Dharma talk, I was like, anger, that's going to be the one. So, and for those of you in the room, if you want to share, there's a mic there. You want to turn the switch on, and everyone on Zoom can hear you. And those of you on Zoom, you can raise your virtual hand if someone's speaking, and then that will signal that you'd like to go next. Oops, let me change this. Joan, did you grab that? Yeah. Oop, where did I go? I think I hid myself. Hang on just a moment, Joan. Where did I go? Okay, let me change the view here. Um, my mouse stopped working. Okay, there we go.
Hello? Okay. No, that was really interesting. Those two emotions I feel.
Oops, sorry. Let's see.
It's okay.
Okay, try that now. Yeah, good.
Those two emotions I feel, especially what's the one for fear?
Fear is so there's hiri and ottappa. So
Ottappa.
ottappa is the fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In my work, what can often happen is two ethical things are in conflict.
Yeah.
Right. And I can't go into detail. I'm a therapist, so I can't go
Yeah,
into
yeah.
detail about what it was,
I get that.
but there just this last week I had a thing, and the situation turned out to not be what I thought it was going to be. So there was a
Yeah.
lot of relief there. But before, I had so much fear because I'm like, these two ethical things are in complete conflict.
Mhm.
And it was like a visceral fear that was so intense. So I just appreciate having a name for that
Yeah.
now, to be able to say, oh, this is what this is.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. See if you turn that up. Okay, there we go. Yeah. And when we are working with this on physical, visceral level, again, if we're applying the practice of meditation to it, it's using the breath to calm and soothe, right? And find a neutral place. And then the other part of it too is to get in touch with that part of you that care, the goodness in you that cares about this, that it manifests as this strong sensation, right? Or bodily experience. Yeah. And as soon as we get in touch with that care, that goodness, now what we're doing is we're like bringing that loving kindness into the mind. And then that helps to suffuse the body and soothe that visceral experience, that restlessness, that dis-ease or discomfort. Right. So it turns it from this really like strong, maybe somewhat out of control sensation to a little more smooth and um, uh, almost like a containable experience. Yeah, where it can be now met with like, oh yeah, I could be with this. Like, and I'm in touch with my goodness while I'm feeling this. So many things could be there at one time. Sometimes in particularly like Adi Shanti, he talks about Western minds and Eastern mind. And there's this whole thing he talks about unworthiness and how, you know, in Western minds, there's this, we fixate on this one thing and it's like, just lock in on that. But Eastern mind and his, you know, his way of sharing this is that there's more of a holistic view, seeing things a little broader. Okay, that's there, but this is also here and this is also here, right? So seeing the broader container of it, like expanding, stepping back to see. And so for me, that's that part of that skillful part of stepping back and see, oh yeah, I care. That's why I'm having this experience. How lovely or how sweet. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Margaret.
Yeah, I really like what you said about the about that broader view, because it does loosen the grip on that identity of being a bad person or being a, you know, someone who didn't follow through or whatever. It does help to loosen that, and so that you're better able to implement your heart in the whole process. Now, I've noticed just in what you had to say, in Buddhism, morality comes up so frequently, with sila being first in the list of and the precepts. It really brings it front and center, that whole dynamic.
Yeah.
And I love that, because it's right there, and it's not critical, it's just a universal law.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the things that I love about the practice. It really doesn't pull any punches in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And as I say, that's something that I really like about the practice.
Mm.
And so anyways, thank you. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm. Thank you, Margaret.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing up that, you know, that foundation of our practice
Mhm.
begins with sila, right? The moral, the ethical guidelines.
Mhm.
What that is just here's a set of actions to take that will promote peace and well-being within
Mhm.
ourselves. Yeah. It's not a don't do this, or you're sin, you're bad, you're wrong, but it's more of would you like to, you know, have more peace, more happiness, you know, good relationship, then this is the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
And excuse me, all you need to do is try it,
Yeah.
and it works beautifully. So
Oh, really does. Thank you so much. Mhm. Anyone else? Final last words. Yeah. Elena. Mm.
Hi, I'm Rob, he, him. Yeah, this is great. I think I heard it from a few folks tonight, and for me, what really strikes home is when you're in guilt or shame. I mean, for me, I just feel this incredible constriction, and it's, you know, it's a very tight feeling, and there's lots of self there. There's no wisdom there. So the danger for me is I have to examine that. I cannot act from that, because it'll just be me digging myself. The hole that I'm in, I'll just keep digging the hole deeper. So I think recognizing when you're in that, and to be mindful and to examine maybe, uh, you know, what's behind it, or what am I feeling here, rather than responding to that state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that, Rob. It's that inward looking rather than I need to respond and do something about what I'm feeling right now. It's more of being, right, than doing. There's being with this feeling. What is it saying? What is it telling me? What is it teaching me? About, my thoughts, my actions. And as you were saying, I just got in touch with something else too, going back to what was said earlier around moral shame and fear of wrongdoing, hiri and ottappa is that what has occurred in our society is that we all live in such individualistic, isolated, like, cells and of self. And so fear of wrongdoing is when we're with community, that's when it's really present. But if it's just individuals moving through the world, one doesn't have that support of like, well, if I do wrong, no one's gonna know. F it, let's do it, right? So, but there's this like, yeah, it's gonna affect my community, my family, my partner, but people who are just alone and so, in their own little bubble or space, this is where it goes wrong. There isn't that component of fear of wrongdoing because one can hide and one can live inside of that and no one will know. The effects are there, but it's so hidden from view. And that's why one of the things about taking a refuge in Sangha, coming to our Sangha, or having our communities, is that our community reflect to us where we might have veered off. And you might want to think about that thing, Trina, that you're doing. It's like help keep us in check and actually support our well-being. That genuine care is there. So I think that that's the part that is so dangerous about the rugged individualism and the isolation that we see out there. I'm sure you hear about it a lot, right, in your work. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Gavin says, pausing to find what is the right action instead of reacting from emotional charge. Yes, exactly to what Rob's saying. Yes, said it another way. Yeah. So when we feel shame, right, or guilt, pausing to find what is the right action here? What is this telling me? Instead of reacting from that emotionally charged place. So this is where mindfulness comes in and first help us identify that that's there and then stop, right? And turn inward and observe the feelings, observe the sensation, and then from there, pause and then decide what's that next skillful thing, right? Anyone else with anything? Thank you for all staying. And why don't we close with this short chant on universal well-being? I love this chant because at the very end of it, this is where you really hear the part about karma, which is about our actions and the results that we have. Let's see if I can find it in here. Reflection on universal well-being. And one of the things that, I really appreciate about chants is, again, these are the sutra from what the Buddha said. And when we chant and we get familiar with these words, it becomes our guideline. When I feel stuck or kind of uncertain around next step, I turn towards these chants as a way to remember what did the Buddha say about this? And how can I take this out into this issue, this matter that I'm having? I don't know if I can find this one. And then the other thing too, for those of you who are interested in looking at the precepts, there's the version of the precepts from Village, the 5 mindfulness trainings, or the 14 mindfulness training is an excellent resource. I used to teach that very frequently. And it's basically reviving the 5 precepts into something that's applicable for our time, and really spelling it out and looking at it from all these deeper layers and angles of not just what not to do, but just looking at our thinking, our views also. Okay, I think I will just chant this to you all, and then you can hear the words. Used to be and and then for those of you on Zoom, I'll put it on the screen so you can see it. And then let us invite in this calm and relaxed body, and this kind attention to what is here. Maybe inviting in a few deep, nourishing breaths. Now let us chant the reflections on universal well-being. May I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts, they will be the heirs. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts, they will be the heirs. Thank you, friend, for joining in and for sharing time with me and community. And if you would like to offer your generosity to our mission and our cause in continuing this space for us and others to practice, I invite you to make a donation. You can put it in the box over there or on through Venmo. And for those of you on Zoom, I'll put a link in the chat. And that, the space is all by donation, everything, all volunteers. And no volunteers, are getting anything other than this joy of giving, of creating this space where we can come and practice together. So may you realize the joy of giving in the ways that you want to give. And I'll put this in the chat for those of you on Zoom. And also, just wanted to also share that we have our affinity groups. So the Be Queer Now that meets on Sunday, and then Nero Sangha, I think it's on, is it Tuesday, and then Candle has her groups during the week. The Mindfulness BIPOC group meets on Sunday, and is it Monday also? Monday sits, okay. Yes, PDX Mindfulness, yep, and Monday as well, so that's on our website. And then every morning I also offer a guided meditation and a reflection for those of you who want to maintain a daily practice. It's been, we have people who've been sitting for 5 years, 2 years, 6 months, and those who are just started coming a week or two, and it's a really great space to continue to be in that reflective state and stopping, pausing, thinking about our way of moving through the world and how it impacts us on a day-to-day. And that support of that group is just so wonderful. Just having each other to practice with and to know that we're not alone. So I invite you to join in whatever ways that works for you. And I will put the information here. I was just trying to find this for everyone on Zoom. And please feel free to also check out our website. And I'm so glad you're all here. And sign up for the newsletter if you haven't, says Rob. Yes. Online, in person.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you, Trina.
So welcome.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah. Wish